So I'm gonna be aiming for the inside opposite side. And believe me, it's getting all over. Okay, we're gonna let that one just dry. Phew-y. Just takes an instant for it to dry. And then we're going to do this one. I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to aim for the opposite side, and then I'll do the outside. Bees like hairspray. Huh. Go figure. So on the outside, I was just kind of aiming for this area right here and twirling it around. Get a little bit of wind. So then, as they're drying, you want to examine the little guys. So here's one that I've already done with the hairspray. This is a do-over. I had a color on here that I didn't particularly care for all over the bowl. I didn't want to cover up the chattering. This may run because it's ancient jasper, and it may run just a little bit down past this area, which is fine, but I've just put hairspray over it and put a generous coat and then carefully wiped it off. So we'll see how that do-over works. And on this one that we just hairsprayed, I'm going to put another coat of iron luster all over everything, and then when it dries, I'm going to add more. I like how this oatmeal did around the edges. It just needs more, right? Some of it drifted down to here, so I'm going to have to be pretty careful about how much I get on the outside. So let's start on the outside. And I hope I have enough of this stuff. I use a fan brush, whoops, when I'm glazing. And the reason is I can cover a lot of territory. I can scoop a lot of glaze onto this like it was a little shovel or something. And I can spread it. The bristles are hog hair or boar hair, or so I think they call them natural bristles as well. This one used to be longer than this and thicker, but it's kind of worn. But anyway, you can job it into areas that you have chattering. You can get a real fine line around the foot with it. I just find that this is a real handy. Also, most of them have long handles so that you can stir your glaze with it before you get going. This looks like it's pretty well mixed. And then you can just wipe off your handle and keep going. So get way down in there and get everything on the sides and bottom of the container mixed in. Now, generally, when glazing brush on, you want to start up here where the foot is, and then I will zigzag it down to the edge. And I'll take care of this edge close to the bottom here in a minute. I'll go get some more glaze. Get it right up there, zigzag it on. Do this all the way around. And I'm kind of going like that in the swipe. But you want to be generous enough with it that you get plenty of it on there. the outside of this actually turned out better than the inside as far as brush strokes went. But I might put another coat on that too. So I'm going to make sure I get on the, now I'm not really trying too hard to keep off of the foot, but because I can wipe it off after this dries or when it's pretty dry. I can pick it up by the foot. Whoops, I got a blurb. I got a blob or a blurb. We don't want that. So I'm going to pick it up and carefully put your paper down on it, turn it over, and while it's still wet, you can do the inside. You'll learn these little tricks, it's all. So I'm getting quite a bit of glaze on there, you can tell. So I'm going to ziggy-zag it up the sides. Once you get one coat on a do-over pot, that will stick. See, in some places it tries to separate like that, and that's what the hairspray tries to sort of mitigate. It sort of prevents that totally from totally happening, that is. And as it's drying, and the glaze is thickening up a little as it dries, you can also get back into it and spread it thinner. Okay, so I haven't done the rim yet, but I'm just showing you the inside of that. Okay, it's separating right there. Maybe I needed more hairspray. So it's pretty much covered. And I can see brush strokes in it, but I think I'm going to put another coat of glaze on it before I'm done. So then, with the edge of this brush, the chisel edge, as it's called, I can just go around and make sure that there's some in the little groove. This has kind of a split rim on it, so I make sure that that's got some in there. Then, to keep from having runs in case I've gotten real crazy with it, I go around the outside edge and just make sure that I don't have any drips that will get out of control. So I'm going to let that just sit. I take my brush and I take my 2 fingers. Let's see if I can get this where you can see it better. I take my 2 fingers and I slide it down the handle of the brush. And I'll put this on the side and my finger right there and pull the brush out, and I've got as much glaze as I can possibly get back into the jar. Okay, I think I've decided to do it with oatmeal. Here's my reasoning. Currently, I've got all neutral colors here, and I don't know how much they're going to change with something else on them, provided it reaches proper temperature. So inside I've still got neutral colors. I'm going to use oatmeal because it's kind of a neutral color, and some of these colors may show through. On the label of the oatmeal, it says that the float separates from the base, which means that it's going to move. Anytime you see the words float, flow, separate, what other words do they use? There are just some key words on the labels. They don't ever use the word runny. I've never seen them use the words "be careful" because this will ruin your kiln shelf. Sometimes on a label you'll see it, it'll say something like, oh, it'll tell you, it'll warn you not to get it too close to the bottom of the pot. Which on this one I'm going to heed the warning. I'm going to consider that separation from the base to the float, or float to the base, because this has already been fired once, and even though it didn't do what I wanted it to do, didn't move, it was under fired, I don't know what's going to happen. So just err on the side of caution. I'm going to stay kind of away from the very bottom of or the top of that foot, and I'm probably going to put this coat on, let it dry, and then I'm probably going to put some more on, because I want, even if it doesn't blend these colors that are on here already, I want it to, maybe it'll cover it up some. So I'm putting a pretty generous application on there. I think this is kind of a heavy glaze, and where these little blobs of so-called oatmeal are, it'll float down. It'll run down the side like it did in the other one. So there is the outside of it. So let's see if I can get it turned over without wrecking it. I'm going to lift up this paper, flip it over, set it down, and take these off. Then I can use those in a minute. Whoa, might have to touch up some of that. Okay, so now let's do the inside. And I'm sticking that brush all the way down to the bottom because I want that to be thoroughly mixed. See, I'm not wiping it off on the edge, I'm just slopping it on there. Because we know that oatmeal will move when it's melting in the kiln. I guess, yeah, you can call me a risk taker. It's all fun. I'm doing this for fun. If I had to make a living at it, I wouldn't be making a living. One thing to notice, I guess, when I do take this out of here, I get plenty of glaze on the brush, and then sometimes if I think I'm going to drip it, I'll just take it off the back side a little bit so that I've got the front side to work with. So I had a little sort of a companion bowl that goes to this. I'm going to do whatever I do to this one, I'm going to do to the small one, because I intended for them to be mates. Mates for life. Okay, these have dried completely. They've been sitting here overnight, and if you'll notice, I didn't quite go to the foot. And if I did get it on the foot, I would wipe it off just barely. Because remember, this is a do-over, so there is glaze there. And I'm not so concerned about that being perfectly the same color as the rest of it. I just don't want more glaze to get down there and run off on the foot. So I've done that, excuse me, on both, whoops, on both pots. That one I probably could have gotten a little closer, and I may do that. So I'm going to start with the big one. This will be the second coat, and we're putting oatmeal on here. So most of it I sort of zigzag down, and around here I went this direction. This time I'm going to go this way and try to go in the opposite direction of the last coat. And right over here where I didn't get very close, I'll probably get a little closer on that. So make sure your glaze is stirred up all the way to the bottom of the jug. In fact, I'll go around and touch the perimeter here. I'm not getting close enough to touch the foot. Okay, so I'm gonna splish splash and go like that. So I'm only wiping the paint, the glaze off of the back side. I want plenty of paint on the front side of that. So I think I'll just start by putting some around the rim, and about every 3 application, now we'll just put a little one there, about every 3 steps, that's going to be a runner, I'm going to put my brush back into the jug. You want to put that on there fairly evenly, and it's okay if you get a few of them that are sort of uneven, because you want some starters there. You know, some of these do-overs are have turned out to be some of my best pieces that I've just taken chances with because I didn't know any better. But you know, I'm a risk taker. So okay, so that looks a little like icing, doesn't it? But this Chino cream is guaranteed to run. I want to put another color around the rim on this, but I can't brush it on, or I don't want to, because I don't want to disturb any of this oatmeal glaze. So I have put some smoky Merlot in a cup here, and I've thinned it to where it's pretty soupy, because I'm going to blow it through the atomizer, and I'm going to have to do this outside. So, but I just wanted to show you how I did this. This is pretty soupy. I'm stirring it because I want to show you how soupy it is. It has to go through the atomizer. If you have any solid lumps in there, it'll get into the atomizer and clog it up, and then you'll have to stop and unclog it and all that stuff, and it's just a big mess. So put it in one of these little cups or something like this. And I'm going to take all of it out to the patio table so that I don't have this all over the place inside the house. And I'll put the camera up so you can see what I'm doing. We have our little atomizer, and I'm going to put the glaze right in there. And here's my soupy glaze. Soupy glaze. poured it all inside there, and then you just replace the lid. You could use this little funnel thing here to refill it if you wanted to do that without taking the lid off. So I'm just going to blow in this end as I'm twirling this. All right. Oh, nice. Okay. Now let's try to get that a little more evenly. Looks like messy. It gets it all over the place. That's the reason you want to do this outside. Okay, so I just wanted to put a little bit on the outside of the bowl just to tie both sides together. Let me see if I can concentrate it a little more at the highest point. Now this is going to be a light application because it is being sprayed on. You can do this multiple times, as many times I suppose as you want to. You want to make sure that you don't get more than the equivalent of about 3 coats of anything on there. Okay. Once you have finished and with the atomizer, you definitely want to clean off the foot of the bowl, because with the way that spray works, it's not that controllable, and I guarantee you that you probably got some overspray onto your feet. So be sure and clean that off.